Clovis I was born around 466 into the Merovingian dynasty, the ruling family of the Salian Franks. He was the son of Childeric I, a powerful Frankish king, and Baina, a Thuringian princess. His early life was shaped by the warrior culture of the Franks, where leadership was closely tied to military strength and personal charisma. Growing up, Clovis was likely exposed to the strategies of tribal governance, the importance of alliances, and the necessity of force in maintaining authority. This period laid the foundation for his eventual rise to power, as he inherited not only his father's throne but also the ambitions and traditions of a people poised for expansion. The education and training of Clovis I were deeply rooted in the traditions and practices of the Frankish warrior culture. As the son of Childeric I, a prominent Frankish king, Clovis was likely trained in the art of warfare from a young age, learning skills such as swordsmanship, horse riding, and battle strategy. His upbringing would have emphasized loyalty, bravery, and the importance of personal leadership in combat, as these were crucial qualities for a ruler in a tribal society. Beyond martial training, Clovis would have been instructed in the customs and laws of the Franks, preparing him to arbitrate disputes and maintain order among his people. Storytelling and oral tradition were key aspects of Frankish culture, and Clovis likely absorbed tales of heroic ancestors and the values they embodied, shaping his sense of identity and destiny. While formal education in the classical sense was uncommon among the Franks, his exposure to Romanized territories may have introduced him to some elements of Roman administration and governance, which would later influence his rule. Clovis I became king of the Salian Franks in 481 at the age of 15, following the death of his father, Childeric I. Despite his youth, Clovis inherited a kingdom centered around Tournai, a relatively small and fragmented realm compared to the powerful forces surrounding it. The transition of power likely involved consolidating his position among the Frankish nobility, as leadership in tribal societies required not only hereditary claim but also the loyalty and support of influential warriors and chieftains. Clovis's ascension marked the beginning of an ambitious and transformative reign. From the outset, he demonstrated his capability as a leader and strategist, seeking to expand his domain and unify the fractured Frankish tribes. His early years as king were crucial in establishing his authority, navigating the challenges of internal rivalries, and positioning himself as a rising power in the post-Roman world. Clovis I's first major conquest occurred in 486, 5 years after he became king, when he decisively defeated Syagrius, the Roman governor of the domain of Soissons. This region, the last remnant of Roman authority in Gaul, was a critical step in Clovis's expansion. The confrontation, known as the Battle of Soissons, showcased Clovis's military prowess and strategic planning. After defeating Syagrius, Clovis absorbed Soissons into his growing Frankish kingdom, securing significant territory and resources. This victory also elevated his status among other Frankish leaders, many of whom began to align with him either through allegiance or subjugation. The conquest of Soissons marked the beginning of Clovis's broader campaign to unify the Frankish tribes and assert dominance over neighboring regions, setting the stage for his eventual transformation of the Frankish realm into a significant political and military power in Western Europe. Clovis I strategically used alliances to strengthen his position and expand his influence across Gaul and beyond. One of his most significant alliances was through his marriage to Clotilde, a Burgundian princess and devout Christian. This union not only brought Clovis closer to the influential Christian communities in Gaul, but also tied him to the powerful Burgundian kingdom, which played a role in his eventual conversion to Christianity. Clovis also cultivated alliances with influential Frankish leaders and tribal chieftains, consolidating their loyalty through a mix of diplomacy, shared spoils of war, and calculated force. By presenting himself as a capable and just leader, he secured the allegiance of other Frankish tribes, unifying them under his rule. Additionally, after his conversion to Christianity, Clovis gained the backing of the Gallo-Roman aristocracy and the Church, which saw him as a protector of orthodoxy against Arian Christian rulers. These alliances bolstered his legitimacy, expanded his base of support, and positioned him as a unifying figure in the fragmented political landscape of post-Roman Gaul. Clovis I's expansion was marked by a series of calculated military campaigns and political maneuvers that transformed the fragmented Frankish territories into a powerful and unified kingdom. After his victory over Syagrius in 486, he turned his attention to other Germanic tribes and rival groups in Gaul. Clovis led successful campaigns against the Thuringians, securing the northeastern frontiers of his realm, and later engaged in a decisive conflict with the Alemanni at the Battle of Tolbiac around 496. This victory not only expanded his territory into Alemannic lands, but also reinforced his reputation as a formidable military leader. Following his conversion to Christianity, Clovis leveraged his new religious alignment to gain support from the Gallo-Roman population and the Catholic Church, enabling him to strengthen his rule. He later directed his forces against the Visigoths in southern Gaul, defeating their king, Alaric II, at the Battle of Vouille in 507. This victory allowed him to annex significant territories in Aquitaine, further consolidating his control over Gaul. Through a combination of military conquest, political alliances, and strategic use of religion, Clovis expanded his domain into one of the most powerful kingdoms in Western Europe during the early Middle Ages. The Battle of Tolbiac, fought around 496, was a pivotal moment in the reign of Clovis I and a turning point in Frankish history. The battle occurred between the Franks, led by Clovis, and the Alemanni, a powerful Germanic tribe threatening Frankish territories. Facing significant resistance and on the verge of defeat, Clovis reportedly turned to the Christian God for help, influenced by his wife, Clotilde, a devout Catholic who had long urged him to embrace Christianity. According to legend, Clovis prayed to God, promising to convert if granted victory. The tide of the battle shifted, and the Franks emerged victorious, with the Alemanni either retreating or submitting to Clovis's rule. This victory solidified Clovis's control over key territories and bolstered his reputation as a divinely favored leader. True to his vow, Clovis began his journey toward Christianity, culminating in his baptism by Saint Remigius. The battle thus not only expanded Clovis's domain but also set the stage for the Christianization of the Frankish kingdom, aligning it with the Catholic Church and laying the foundation for a lasting alliance between the Franks and the Roman Church. The baptism of Clovis I was a landmark event in the history of Europe, symbolizing the beginning of the Frankish kingdom's transformation into a Christian state. Following his victory at the Battle of Tolbiac around 496 and fulfilling a vow made during the battle, Clovis agreed to convert to Christianity. His wife, Clotilde, a devout Catholic, had long advocated for his conversion, and his decision was also politically motivated, as it aligned him with the powerful Catholic Church and the Gallo-Roman population of his kingdom. The ceremony took place in Reims, where Clovis was baptized by Saint Remigius, the bishop of the city, in a grand and symbolic ritual. Alongside Clovis, thousands of his warriors also accepted baptism, marking a collective embrace of the new faith. The event reinforced Clovis's image as a divinely chosen ruler and distinguished him from other Germanic kings who adhered to Arian Christianity, which was considered heretical by the Catholic Church. This act not only strengthened his internal authority but also established a foundation for a long-standing alliance between the Frankish monarchy and the Catholic Church, shaping the religious and political landscape of medieval Europe. Clovis I's unification of the Franks was a central achievement of his reign, transforming the fragmented Frankish tribes into a single, powerful kingdom. When Clovis ascended to the throne in 481, the Franks were divided into various tribes, each led by its own chieftains. Through a combination of military conquests, political alliances, and strategic marriages, Clovis systematically brought these tribes under his control. One of his key strategies was the elimination of rival leaders, often through warfare or betrayal, to consolidate his authority. He defeated and absorbed neighboring Frankish tribes, strengthening his claim as the sole ruler of the Franks. Clovis also garnered loyalty by redistributing wealth and lands gained from his conquests to his warriors and allies, ensuring their continued support. The unification process was not solely reliant on force. Clovis's conversion to Christianity played a significant role in bringing the Gallo-Roman population and the Church to his side, offering a unifying ideology that transcended tribal boundaries. By the end of his reign, Clovis had succeeded in uniting the Salian and Ripuarian Franks, creating a cohesive Frankish kingdom that became the foundation of the future Merovingian dynasty and a cornerstone of medieval European history. Clovis I's legal reforms were significant in shaping the legal landscape of the early Frankish kingdom. One of his most important contributions was the codification of Frankish customary laws, which had previously been transmitted orally. The most notable of these laws was the Lex Salica, a legal code that became the foundation of Frankish law and influenced later European legal systems. The Lex Salica dealt with a wide range of issues, from criminal offenses and property rights to the regulation of feuds and inheritance. It was designed to reflect the customs and traditions of the Salian Franks, emphasizing compensation for wrongs, often through the payment of fines, rather than harsh punitive measures like corporal punishment. Clovis's legal reforms also played a key role in consolidating his power. By formalizing laws, he could assert greater control over his subjects and reduce the influence of local tribal chieftains who had previously exercised independent authority. Additionally, these laws were designed to provide a sense of justice and fairness, which helped Clovis maintain the loyalty of his people and integrate the Gallo-Roman population, who were accustomed to Roman law, into his kingdom. The establishment of a written legal code also reflected Clovis's efforts to bring order and stability to his expanding realm. While the Lex Salica was not a comprehensive system of Roman-style law, it provided a unified legal framework that helped strengthen his kingdom and left a lasting legacy in the legal traditions of medieval Europe. The foundation of the Merovingian dynasty was solidified under Clovis I, who established it as the ruling family of the Frankish kingdom. Although the Merovingians had a long-standing connection to the Frankish aristocracy, Clovis's reign marked the true rise of the dynasty. His military conquests, successful unification of the Frankish tribes, and conversion to Christianity played key roles in the consolidation of power and the establishment of a lasting dynasty. Clovis's ability to unify various Frankish factions through both military strength and strategic alliances helped him secure dominance over much of Gaul. His victory at the Battle of Soissons, the defeat of the Roman-backed Syagrius, and the later triumphs over other Germanic tribes, such as the Alemanni and the Visigoths, ensured that Clovis was seen as the undisputed leader of the Franks. This centralized control laid the groundwork for the Merovingian dynasty to dominate Western Europe for the next 2 centuries. The dynastic legacy was also reinforced by Clovis's conversion to Christianity, which not only enhanced his authority but also provided a divine sanction for his rule, further distinguishing the Merovingians from other Germanic rulers. Through his reign, Clovis established a strong foundation that allowed his successors, though often less powerful, to maintain a presence in the region. The Merovingian dynasty, marked by its long line of rulers from Clovis's descendants, would continue to hold power until the rise of the Carolingians in the 8th century. Clovis I's administrative reforms were crucial in strengthening his growing kingdom and laying the groundwork for future governance. As he expanded his territory and unified the Frankish tribes, Clovis recognized the need for a more structured and efficient administration to manage his diverse and newly conquered lands. One of his first actions was to establish a centralized system of governance, consolidating control over various regions that had previously been governed by local chieftains. He divided his kingdom into administrative units, often ruled by his trusted nobles, who were responsible for maintaining order and collecting taxes. This allowed Clovis to maintain control over distant territories and ensure loyalty from his vassals. Clovis also sought to integrate the Gallo-Roman population into his kingdom, particularly after his conversion to Christianity. By supporting the Gallo-Roman aristocracy and giving them a role in the administration, he was able to ensure stability and strengthen his political base. He retained Roman administrative practices where appropriate, such as the continuation of local councils and the legal system, which helped to keep the Gallo-Roman population compliant and aligned with his rule. Furthermore, Clovis's legal reforms, such as the Lex Salica, provided a clear framework for governance and dispute resolution, offering a sense of justice and order across his diverse territories. These laws, alongside the establishment of a unified legal code, were key elements in organizing the kingdom, allowing Clovis to exert control over both Frankish and Gallo-Roman subjects. His administrative reforms, while still rooted in the tribal traditions of the Franks, marked the beginning of a more centralized and systematic approach to governance that would influence the structure of medieval European states. Clovis I died in 511, likely in Paris, after a reign that lasted for nearly 30 years and transformed the Frankish kingdom. At the time of his death, Clovis had successfully unified much of Gaul under his rule, bringing together various Frankish tribes and consolidating power through both military conquest and strategic alliances. His death marked the end of a powerful and transformative reign, but also initiated a period of division for the kingdom. Before his death, Clovis had arranged for his realm to be divided among his 4 sons, Theoderic, Clodomir, Childebert, and Clotaire, following the Merovingian tradition of partitioning land among heirs. This division led to the fragmentation of his kingdom, with each son receiving a portion of the Frankish lands to govern. While Clovis's death signified the end of a singular, unified monarchy, his legacy continued to shape the Merovingian dynasty, as his sons would carry on his reign, although often marked by internal strife and power struggles. Despite these divisions, Clovis's death left a lasting imprint on the history of the Franks, securing his place as the founder of a powerful dynasty that would influence European history for centuries.